Hey everyone, ArdrethShadow here, and welcome back to Cabin Fever. So previously, our main character started to sort of allow Mallory kind of into his life a little bit more, showing her around the place, and, you know, kind of forming a bit of a partnership, even comparing it to, like, having Sam and Frodo from Lord of the Rings. And so now, I guess we are going to pick up from where we left off here, which was save 8. Or no, save 9. Okay. No, save 8 was one of the questions. And you know, considering I only have 18 save slots and I'm like going through them so quickly, well, I guess it's a good thing I'm writing down my choices. Because, oh boy. I woke up to the sun shining at an unfamiliar angle through my bedroom window. I checked the time and realized I'd slept in. Not by much, but still weird. I decided I must have needed the extra sleep. I knew stress could drain the body's energy, and yeah, I'd been stressed over the past couple of days. Well, there's your answer. But the house smelled amazing again, and my stomach clenched and unclenched in hunger. There was nothing, absolutely nothing to be happy about. But you have, like, seriously, Mallory is like perfect wife material right there. You have her with you. I got out of bed, got dressed, and made my way down the creaky staircase. Well, this is kind of a new angle. Something struck me as I reached the bottom step. The chairs were tucked in at the table, the blankets were neatly folded on the couch, and I was pretty sure the floor had been swept again. And it all made me feel so much calmer than usual. I never knew how much my home's cleanliness could affect my mood. I mean, yeah. Like, if you surround yourself with with chaos, and like if your house isn't like kept up, it can kind of bring you down and even frustrate you. It's kind of a psychological thing, so I mean, exactly. Don't doubt the kind of like feng shui in a sense, but not exactly.
Morning, sleepyhead. Your breakfast is waiting.
See, what am I telling you? You should seriously just marry her already. I turned around. Mallory was standing extremely close to me. And she's smiling. Kind of. I thought about stepping back, but then I forgot because her cheeks were flushing red and I was pretty sure mine were too.
Good morning to you too. First things first, though.
Don't stand so close to me. I went to grab the temperature scanner and held it up between us.
Oh, right, of course.
She lifted her hair out of the way and let me scan her forehead. Yep, and there goes... I swear, it sounds so much like my video capture program. The scanner beeped happily. Somehow, I felt even more relieved than the other times I checked and found her temperature normal. No chance, no way, I won't say I'm in love. Mallory danced away from me, then spun back around. She's like the perfect wife material, and now she's pretty much like a storybook princess in a way. Oh, hello. Suddenly there was a large plate of food under my nose. I grinned. Even the food is sparkling!
It isn't much, but I thought it would be good to have a high-calorie meal since we both worked so hard yesterday.
Good thinking. It looks pretty appetizing too. It didn't seem possible, but the breakfast looked even more incredible than the one she'd made yesterday. The plate held a rainbow of foods. Sliced red strawberries on a tower of golden pancakes drizzled in amber syrup, a stir-fry of rice with orange and yellow peppers surrounded by fresh, crisp, glistening greens, and a perfect soft-boiled egg. My mouth watered. She's certainly come a long way.
I did use the last of the eggs in your fridge to make this. I hope that's okay. I went out to check the coop for more, but there were none.
Seriously, like, if you're not falling in love with Mallory at this point, then I don't know what's wrong with you, man. Seriously, she is so kind and considerate. Yeah, sure. Do whatever. I love the food. Anyway, I had already grabbed the plate and started eating. Through a mouthful of pancakes, I mumbled an incoherent reply to her and shook my head up and down. Which is kind of what I was actually doing just now. Well, obviously you can't see me nodding my head because there's no face cam, but...
Sometimes it takes them a day or two, but we'll have more eggs soon.
That's good. Oh, what the fastest way to your heart and to your arteries. Okay, no. McDonald's and pretty much all those other fast foods are the fastest way to get to your arteries. She smiled and sat down across from me with her own plate. She ate her breakfast with far more elegance than I ate mine. You probably ate yours like a slobbering pig, compared to this lovely princess of a woman here. After we'd finished breakfast, I gathered up my paltry first aid supplies so I could clean and rewrap Mallory's leg. My gaze landed on the box of disposable masks tucked at the back of the drawer, the ones I'd been wearing each day when medical care necessitated getting up close and personal with her. But not when we'd be working outside or in the aquaponics room, or when she'd sat next to me on the couch while I played my video game. I slid the drawer shut, deciding not to bother with the mask. Welp, okay. I shouldn't say it's been nice knowing you, because I don't know how this game's gonna end. Although imagine it's like, yes, something terrible happens because he decided not to wear the mask. And I can say that it wouldn't have been my fault this time because I wasn't given the choice. The two of us chatted a little while I tended her wound.
So I guess I worked you too hard yesterday, huh?
What makes you say that?
You fell asleep at like 7 o'clock last night.
Yeah, normal people don't fall asleep at 7 o'clock. Well, Mallory flushed pink again. She didn't seem sure how to respond.
It's okay. You learned a lot yesterday, and learning is hard work. I probably went a little overboard with the teaching.
No, but I enjoyed it so much.
So happy. It made me really happy to hear her say that. Once I'd finished fixing her bandages, I got up to peer outside. The sky above was blue, but there were gray clouds gathering in the distance. Epic foreshadowing. I decided to check the forecast. Is Sophia still alive? Okay, no. Yeah, I guess we don't have a TV. Well, let's see. I stood at my desk, waiting for the computer to boot up and connect to the web. Once it did, a number of notifications popped up, chiming cheerfully. I followed into my email inbox and glanced through my unread messages. One work update, a couple of newsletters, something from a coupon service I didn't remember signing up for, and of course a bunch more hogwash forwards about the many cures my doctors didn't want me to know about. Doctors hate him! Learn his secrets! Okay, Okay, no. You mean like those stupid ads? Oh my god. Okay, you know what, I think just for the sake of simplicity, I'm not gonna really save too much often now. But I am gonna read, I'm gonna write down every choice I make. So if we're going with the most negative ones, let's read the spam and waste time. Let's see if that changes anything. Let's read the spam and laugh at how stupid it is. Just for fun! I clicked open one of the email forwards, smirking.
Hey, Mallory. Have you heard about this one weird trick for removing viral toxins?
Oh my god. He sounds almost exactly like one of those infomercial people.
Removing them from where?
From your face.
It doesn't actually say, but there's a grainy picture of someone laying what looks like lasagna noodles across their stomach. So I'm assuming it's nothing to do with that.
What? Yeah, that sounds about right. It's like they're gonna tell you about all these, like, techniques and things you can order, and... yeah, I guess they just did that to trick you into thinking, oh wow, this is probably what you do, I have to learn more. No, wait, did I actually do a good thing? Oh, I still don't know. I don't think this was one of the choices that really mattered, but... oh well. Still though, it's like, I made her laugh. That's my first victory of the day. But I'm trying to choose all the bad options.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe how many of these I get. They're so stupid.
I closed out of the email and deleted it along with the others. I guess it's kind of negligible. I guess that's just a little quick thing you could have done. I imagine if you don't choose it, he just deletes it and we don't have that little funny dialogue. I pull up a weather forecast.
Partly cloudy this morning, with a chance of scattered showers throughout the afternoon and overnight.
Well, at least it's not cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Yes, I know.
And it looks like tomorrow's gonna be rainy all day.
Is this really epic foreshadowing / pathetic fallacy at work here? I felt like a bit of a chump for panicking about the water. Oh right, because she used up a lot of the water when she was taking a bath. I looked up at Mallory.
Maybe there'll be enough water for a luxurious bath after all.
Seriously though, he walked in on her when she was in her towel. If this was the other version of the game, the towel wouldn't have been there, and you would have seen... just... like, seriously.
I should probably do a few things outside, though. Get the basic chores done before the weather turns.
Good idea.
I'll help.
Okay, I don't know what it is with this pose. It kind of reminds me a bit of Sayori. I guess in a sense. Well, I mean, I like Sayori anyway, so... I wasn't sure. I could tell she was sore from yesterday, and I was still worried about her leg. Also, why was she so insistent on doing so much?
How about you just keep me company this time?
Oh, alright.
Alright, here we are again. We headed outside. The sunshine was strong, but there was a chill in the air that hadn't been present yesterday. Occasional clouds moved past the sun, casting cold shadows over the garden. Geese! I saw a flock of geese! A flock of geese passed over us, noisy and energized.
They're flying south to escape the coming cold. They probably have their own tropical paradise somewhere, with their own beach houses where they spend all winter sunbathing and drinking margaritas.
They're gonna be wasting they're gonna be wasting away again in Margaritaville. Where is Margaritaville anyway? I know on Wheel of Fortune they give out trips for that place. Probably somewhere in Florida. Who knows? Like, that's where they're going? They're going to Florida! Or Tahiti, who knows?
Just kidding. Geese don't do that stuff. But wouldn't it be nice to go on a vacation like that?
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older? Then we wouldn't have to wait so long. Okay.
I don't know. I've never been on a vacation.
Oh dear. Well, I mean, it's been forever since I've been on a vacation, but this poor girl hasn't ever been on a vacation at all, apparently. I frowned, pausing to bend and pull up a stray dandelion poking out of the grass.
Maybe someday, someone will figure out a way to stop the virus, and you'll be able to go somewhere amazing.
Alright, pack your bags, because we're going on vacation! To Disneyland!
Not by myself, I hope.
Aww. Yeah, Mallory doesn't really seem to like being alone. I mean, when he's here, like, why is she so insistent, blah blah blah. Like, maybe she really does just want to be around him more. I guess we'll eventually find out. But yeah, I guess it's understandable she just doesn't want to be alone.
No, definitely not by yourself.
Yeah, because Disneyland! Her humming. We walked around the property, Mallory humming happily to herself while I puttered about, checking the well, making sure the hens were happy and fed, yanking more dandelions out of the ground when I saw them. Pretty soon, Mallory had grabbed a bucket and started pulling weeds too. It was like she couldn't help herself. I shook my head.
That's probably enough hard labor for the day. Let's go in. I need to do some work on my computer.
Oh, not just yet. Please. I'd like to enjoy the fresh air a little while longer before the rain comes.
Yeah, because I mean, you're not going to be able to do much out here when it rains, let alone enjoy the fresh air. So enjoy it while it's a beautiful day outside, because I have a feeling that there's a storm coming. And when a storm's coming, that also means bad things are coming too.
Ah, okay. If you're good, then I'm good.
I reached down for another clump of weeds and feel my stomach flip when I saw a big black spider clinging onto the leaves I'd pulled. I flicked my hand reflexively, which sent the weed and the creepy crawly flying across the garden.
Ugh. Stay on the alert for spiders.
I hate spiders. When I see a spider, I have two choices. Either crush the thing to death or run away. And if I can't crush it to death, then I'm running away. If I see a scorpion, however, I'm running the hell away from there, no questions asked.
Oh yes, I've already met a few of them. They're so helpful chasing off all the harmful bugs.
Oh, I see you're one of those people. Well, I'm on the other side of the coin where I'm like, I hate spiders! Burn them! Burn them! Send them to hell! Of course, Mallory would treat spiders with the same kind of adoration any cuddly pet deserved. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty obvious right now, but spiders just creep me the fuck out. Like, ugh, don't even... Like, I have, like, a sort of memory of, like, in my geology days when one of the TAs actually found a big brown spider and he, like, let it crawl on his hand, and you're like, oh my god, no! Oh! Yeah, sometimes you're like, oh god, no! Dandelion tamer. And yep, after a hard day's work, we continued pulling weeds together, side by side, as the toll of Metro Nui. Okay, no. And I tried to keep the pace slow and casual. Despite that, and despite the heavy clouds moving in, we were both sweating pretty soon.
Phew, I am hot.
Yeah, I know you are! Like, have you seen yourself, girl? Damn! Okay, no. Pfft. Like, I forgot what video I said, but a few of my friends, one of them being a girl, said I'm hot, and the guy was like, yeah, I know you are. Like, oh my god. Memories.
I almost want to take my sweater off.
Oh my god! Oh great. You're not gonna make me quote that Nelly song, are you? You know, the "It's getting hot in here," and yeah, I'm not even gonna. Cochina! Okay, no. She said this with a giggle, standing up straight to stretch her back and survey the neat-looking garden. I felt myself blushed, embarrassed by the suggestion and the image my mind conjured up. I mean, I would be too if a girl just up and said that to me. Yeah, especially if, like, I am pretty sure he is attracted to Mallory, he just doesn't want to admit it yet. So yeah, it's like if I was here with a girl I'm attracted to and she suggested doing that, I would be like, oh no. What the is she being flirty? Try flirting back. Okay, well in that case... Well, if I think of, like, of all the sort of things I've learned about romance, apparently to break the ice and kind of become more than friends, flirting is kind of one of the options to do, to kind of step out of the friend zone. However, though, I'm trying to do all the bad options here, so let's see. Like I said, we'll come back to this at some time or another. I scratched the end of my nose and fixed my eyes on the compost bin beside her.
Lots of dandelions, huh? Nasty weeds. Did you know you can actually eat the leaves?
Is there nutritional value to them? She looked down at them in surprise.
I don't know about that. I seem to remember trying to eat one when I was little, and it was disgusting.
Oh, you actually tried to eat it. You actually tried to eat one.
They're only good when the leaves are young. Once they get too old, they turn bitter.
Okay, I guess we have a dandelion expert over here.
Like me.
Like me. It took her a moment to process the joke, but when it clicked, she burst out laughing. Her laugh made me laugh too. We were interrupted when Mallory's stomach decided to let out a high-pitched growl. She stopped laughing and clasped her hands over her stomach. Or on her stomach.
Sorry. My tummy must be hungry after all that work.
Mine is too. And I think I felt a raindrop just now, which is probably our cue to head inside. Do you want to meet me in there? I'll pick some things to make us a strawberry salad.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Wow, that sounds so delicious. I'll see you in a bit.
Okay, apparently... Have I entered your mind, Mallory? Or have you entered my mind? Because I said it first. Oh jeez. Well, that definitely took a turn. I grabbed a bucket off the porch and spent a few minutes in the garden gathering ingredients. A few raindrops pelted me here and there. Quickly, I hurried back inside, following Mallory's footsteps. There it is. By the time we'd finished eating lunch, the gray clouds had fully taken over the sky, and rain clung in droplets to the cabin's windows.
Well, if we get as much rain as the forecast predicts, the rain barrel sure will be happy.
And maybe you won't yell at her for taking another bath again.
Those are the big containers on the side of the house?
Yeah, you're getting good at this.
Okay, so that's what they look like. We kind of had something like this in my geology days when, like, we did actually have to bunk in some cabins for one of our trips. Well, technically 3, really. And yeah, we had something like this going on as well.
It's probably the #1 most important system I have here. The water those 4 barrels can hold can last a long time, as long as I'm careful with it.
No luxurious baths, no water balloon fights either, I'm guessing. Just basic cleaning, cooking, and drinking, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what it sounds like. It's survival out here.
Jeez, you make me sound like someone who doesn't know how to have fun.
I know, right?
You're pretty much right, though. But you can't just drink rainwater. It wouldn't be safe.
Alright, I guess you would have to... Do you have some kind of a purifier somewhere?
Oh?
The water picks up a lot of things before it makes its way into the barrel. Pollution from the air, chemicals, dirt and bird droppings from the roof.
Uh-huh. Yep, he's right, you know.
Ew.
Ew is right.
Yeah, it's gross. So I add chemicals to the water and filter it to make it clean and safe.
Okay, well... So it's not a water filter like how you might have that for a faucet head, but... Okay. He does have a method.
I'll have to show you how all that stuff works. Cleaning the water, using the spigots.
She turned her head to look me right in the eyes. Is this the part where they fall in love?
You're really smart. I like hearing about all the systems you use here.
Well, kind of, sort of. My cheeks burned under the shock of her beautiful gaze and the admiration I saw in her eyes. Yeah, I can't wait to get to meet her in Crush Crush. I mean, I really do think she has a very pretty design, and she seems like a very fun character. I nodded, not knowing what else to say. After that conversation, I went to check the solar batteries. They were full, which was good. The power they'd banked would last us a few days if necessary. God, it would make me wonder, like, what would happen if you didn't have enough sun for, like... This is kind of unrealistic, but say you didn't have any sun for, like, 10 days, and it was just, like, constantly raining. Like, what would happen? Then the two of us settled down in the living room. I worked at my computer while Mallory gently explored my things and eventually nestled into the couch with a book to flip through. It was oddly effortless, the silence and comfort that filled the room all through the afternoon. Gradually, the sky darkened, and so did the interior of the cabin. It was probably long past time for a break when Mallory closed her book and stood up, teetering just a little on her bad leg.
Can I make us some tea?
Oh, okay. I leaned back in my chair.
That sounds like a very good idea. Yes, please.
She meandered into the kitchen and put the kettle on to boil. I stood up and went to the utility room so I could switch off the inverter. There likely wouldn't be any more sunlight for the next while, so I decided to reduce the load on the solar batteries and only run off DC power for the rest of the night. Oh no! I heard something from the kitchen, like a small stifled cough. I listened hard to see if it would come again, but it didn't.
She's probably just clearing her throat.
Well, I guess we're gonna find out, like I said. I came back out into the kitchen and took a seat at the table. Mallory brought over 2 steaming mugs and set them down.
Honey?
What? Oh.
Yes, dear?
See, I kind of fell for that too. I was like, why are you calling me honey? This is a bit too sudden. No. She's gonna be like, I was asking if you wanted honey in your tea. Oh, the heartbeat. We both froze. I felt my cheeks suddenly warm. Why did you say that? Screamed my brain. I mean, I thought it too until I realized, wait, she probably means honey for the tea. She ain't calling me that.
I meant honey for your tea?
Yeah, you see? Okay, well, we're all kind of embarrassed here now.
Yep, you did.
Yep, you did. I'm just an idiot. Don't mind me. I felt like such an idiot. The reply had flown from my mouth before I even had a chance to think about it. Okay, I said to myself. Now salvage this.
And I was saying, yes, I will have honey for my tea. And then I was very rudely interrupted mid-thought by a deer that definitely exists and totally ran past the window.
Smooth. It's like, yes, dear. Like that. Okay, well. Mallory laughed, but it was a you're cute kind of laugh, not an I'm laughing at you kind of laugh, so I felt better. After bringing over the honey and some spoons, Mallory sat by me and picked up her mug. She took a drink and made a strange little noise in her throat.
Ooh, that's for my tongue.
That's a very nasty lisp you have there. You might want to do something about that.
See, that's why I always let mine cool down for a minute or two.
Otherwise you're gonna burn your tongue off. Same thing with hot cocoa.
I couldn't do that. It smelled too delicious to wait.
Aww. I got up and poured her a glass of cold water.
Here, this will help.
Yep, to soothe the hotness, or the burning.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
Like the honey? Okay, no. After taking a few sips of water, she set down her glass and looked at me with a sad, soft smile.
So, why would someone as nice as you feel the need to set bear traps right in front of their home?
Oh dear. We're gonna go back to that now. The question caught me by surprise. I didn't know she'd even been thinking about that. Of course, it seemed obvious now. She had acted far too chipper and unconcerned when the accident happened. She must have been holding back, and was just now feeling safe enough to ask why she'd been hurt in the first place. I nodded slowly.
Well, I don't know who this nice person is you're talking about, but I can tell you why I have traps set up around my house.
Okay. That's a roundabout way of talking about it.
It's all because of Lola.
Lola?
Ooh, is that a stalker ex-girlfriend? Do you have to defend your property from a lot of girls?
Oh my god. Great. Imagine... Well... Would Sad Panda make some kind of a game like this? God, what would that even be like? kind of like a Plants vs. Zombies sort of thing, except you're trying to protect your house from stalker girlfriends.
No, it's nothing like that.
Well, then who's Lola? Aside from Rosa's evil twin sister. Sad music. I paused to take a sip of tea, taking care to blow on it a few times before drinking. For some reason, I couldn't quite look at Mallory then, though I could see from the corner of my eye that she was listening intently.
Lola was my best friend, my beautiful Bernese mountain dog. She was the family pet, really, but me and her, we had a special bond. After my parents passed away, Lola and I took care of each other. She was a hard worker. She was by my side always, finding little ways to help me out. You definitely would have loved her. She had one brown eye and one blue eye, and her heart was made of gold.
She almost sounds like Tessa. Mallory nodded softly, wrapping her hands around her mug of tea. Well, I guess if you're not familiar with Crush Crush, there's a dog girl in there who has heterochromia like that. And she is based off Artist Panda's dog, also named Tessa, who also has the same sort of thing with her eyes.
One fall evening, I was inside working on the computer, and Lola was outside on the deck, just enjoying the cold. Bernese mountain dogs are, as the name implies, mountain dogs, and they're made to be out in the snow. She loved snow. The deeper, the better. But it hadn't snowed yet that year.
A surge of emotion came over me. I had never told anyone this story before. I needed to pause and drink more tea to stop myself from caving to the sorrow.
Lola started barking, and I ignored her. Because she was always barking at squirrels and birds and things, thinking she was protecting our territory. What a silly dog. But this time, it wasn't a squirrel or a bird. I actually don't even know for sure what it was. But the tracks I found later looked like they might have come from a grizzly.
Mallory gasped and held her hands up to her face. I felt like if I stopped, I wouldn't be able to start again, so I just kept going.
When I realized how urgent her barking was, I ran outside, but she was already gone. That eerie silence is something I'll never forget. I searched for her all night and all the next day. I never found her. Just tracks and some blood and fur. I don't know if a bear grabbed her and took her, or if she went chasing after it, or what. I just know I've never been so angry in my whole life. I was already dealing with the pain of losing my parents, and now Lola was gone too. After that, I pulled out all my family's old traps from the shed and set them up around the house. It was too little too late, but I needed to feel like I was doing something. It never occurred to me that a human might get hurt in one, and I'm really, really sorry that you did.
I looked up to see Mallory nodding vigorously, wiping tears from her eyes.
I don't fault you at all for what happened to my leg. I was the one who trespassed in the dead of night.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey. She let out a short laugh through her tears and sniffling. I got out of my chair again to find her some tissues, and when I handed them to her, I found myself giving her a narrow shoulder to squeeze.
I'm so sorry about Lola. That's a heartbreaking story.
Yeah, that definitely is. I was talking recently with my great aunt about this, but For those who don't know, I have my own dog named Joey. He was one of the last things that my mom ever got for me back in 2016, 6 months before she passed away. She felt as though I was lonely, and well, I was. So she got him for me. She came up with the name Joey. And he has been with me for almost 6 whole years at this point. And he's my companion, my best friend. He's been with me between losing my mom, my grandfather, my aunt. He's been with me. And I don't even want to think about the day that I'm going to have to say goodbye to him. I just really don't. My mom and I got him at a shelter. And I pretty much made a promise to my mom, and in a sense to Joey, that I would take care of him for as long as I could to give him a better life. Because when we found him, he was so small and scrawny. But, well, now he looks a lot more healthy. Like, he eats more. Well, at least a lot more than what I think he might have been eating. Like, he doesn't look so skinny anymore. And at least compared to when he was so scared and nervous, he seems a lot happier now. A lot of people that I've told about him, when I say that I'm lucky to have him, some people have said that they think that Joey is lucky to have me. Whatever the case may be, I guess you might say I think that we're both just lucky to have each other. Especially just because it seems like now all we have is each other. So, I guess thinking about him and Lola, it just really strikes a chord with me. Just because I would never want to lose Joey like that. Especially because he's so protective as well. He barks a lot. He always tries to protect the property. So, like, the thought of, like, possibly him ending up like Lola, just, I don't even want to think about it. Alright, I just had to sort of take a moment.
Sorry I made you cry.
No. I'm glad you shared that with me.
For a moment, I wondered if this was it. The moment where she would start to open up and share her story with me, too. Why she had been outside my house in the middle of nowhere, in the rain at night, all alone. Maybe I should encourage her.
Okay, it's your turn.
Oh my god, you're laying it on a bit too strong there.
What for?
To tell me something about you. Something real. Like maybe what brought you here?
I don't know, I'm just here like Me personally, I just feel like I would be pushing it too much if I was here, like, telling her something like this. Kind of going back to my whole thing in the last video where I was like, just let her naturally tell you herself. Well, I guess we'll see. Who knows, maybe she just needs that little nudge to do that. A look of discomfort crossed her face. She still didn't want to tell me. Yeah, you see, I don't think she's ready to yet. At least she doesn't feel like she can.
Or if you're not ready to talk about that, then maybe you can tell me something else. Something more light. Please? I hardly know anything about you.
Yeah, let's get to know you better.
What do you want to know?
Okay, well, I guess we can either ask her about her past or her hopes for the future. I feel like this one is a major choice. I don't know. I haven't looked at that guide in a while, but... Okay, let me see here. So, I am going to ask her about her favorite memory.
Tell me something about how you grew up. A happy moment or favorite memory.
What the right question? Am I actually getting... Okay, well I can already tell you right now though from the guide, I already know that I am going to get a bad ending. Just because of one of the choices I made in episode 1 of this stream. Or, not this stream, this Let's Play. But yeah, it almost seems like, am I getting, like, some of the right choices here? Huh. Well, in any case. She pressed a finger to her lips, thinking hard.
My favorite memory? Building pillow forts with my sister, and playing make-believe that we were airship captains flying through the clouds.
Alright, there we go. So we already have kind of an idea of her life a little bit now. She has a sister, and that they were most likely very, very close.
We lived at the top of the tallest building on our street, which is probably what inspired our game. I remember we had this old pair of binoculars. They weren't good or anything, but we used to look up at the night sky through them and pretend we were looking into other galaxies.
Space is super cool. I approve.
She giggled.
I always loved the night sky. All the stars and planets and satellites. We actually lived really close to the planetarium, and it was always my dream to go there and see a show.
Interesting.
But it got closed down when I was just a baby. My mom would always tell me that someday the planetarium would open again. And I just had to be patient.
Let's see. I wonder if that's why that Steam achievement was a telescope there. You know, the idea of using a telescope to go stargazing.
I guess I never really stopped waiting.
Well, I mean, it isn't wrong to have hopes and dreams. She gave me a sad smile.
Hey, I think I've been to that planetarium. I would have been really small, so I don't remember a lot, but that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, I guess it almost seems like our paths might have sort of kind of crossed in some degree, I don't know. Well, I mean, at least there's some common ground to be had here, right?
But you know, We could totally go stargazing here in the mountains. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, especially because now we don't have city lights to kind of drown out the stars. In a sense, it would almost be perfect. Damn it, so then I guess maybe I did ask the right question. Wow, listen to me. I'm disappointed because I did something right. She looked away, cheeks flushing pink. She wiped her eyes and shrugged. Well, what's wrong?
Anyway, I should probably let you get back to work now.
Mallory, are you okay? The last thing I wanted to do was go back to work. I gave her a little poke just for suggesting it. This isn't Crush Crush.
Don't do that! I'm super ticklish.
Epic foreshadowing to how she becomes a girl in Crush Crush? I don't know.
Oh, are you? I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
At least you're not like Ruri. When she's like, don't touch me. And I started tickling her like 50 times.
You're shorter than I was expecting, which is... Don't poke me.
There. What the? Gently waggling my fingers like, I poked her again, gently waggling my fingers. She twisted in her seat, laughing, her eyes lighting up. Her laugh was beautiful. She squealed and kicked her feet as I tickled her sides. A playful attempt at realization sent her slipping off her chair, but I easily caught her, and suddenly it was like our arms were around each other. We sat there on the floor, both of us laughing through our breathlessness. It was amazing. And then it was a little awkward. I withdrew my arms and got to my feet. Ah! Germs! Or, ah! Cooties! I helped her up. We stood there for a moment, just looking at each other.
I have an idea. Let me treat you to a special dinner tonight.
Oh, fancy.
A special dinner. Ooh, and what would that be?
Good question. What would that be?
I haven't thought that far ahead yet. Give me a minute.
Like that meme with Plankton. I don't know. I didn't think I'd get this far. I thought about what sort of meal I could make from the things I had in the kitchen or pantry. Truthfully, I wasn't a very good cook. Oh my... Well, as long as you don't kill the poor girl with your awful cooking. I mean, I could throw together a salad or a sandwich, but that wouldn't be special enough. Yeah, not unless you made her a sandwich with, like... I don't know, lunch meat that gave her the power to walk through walls or fly or, you know, or super strength, you know? Like some kind of super power sandwich. A thought sprang to my mind. In the pantry was a very old bottle of red wine. Like the UB40 song. I didn't know if it was fancy or even good wine, but it was the only bottle of booze I had in the house, and because of that, I valued it highly. Originally, I intended to save it for a special occasion. Oh, I was about to say, what kind of occasion? Specifically for the day the virus was cured. That bottle had been sitting on a shelf for many years. The hopeful note I'd attached to it, to celebrate the cure, faded and dusty. Could I open it now? Should I open it now? Okay, I was about to say, are you seriously gonna ask me? I mean, considering the last episode when asked me that thing about should I tell her about what's gonna happen to the chickens, and I was like, oh my god, you're gonna make me feel so evil, especially because I have to choose the bad answer. No, it was special, really special, and meant for a day that might not come. Wine is meant to be shared, my brain reminded me. As well as love. What the hell? I'd do it. I'd share that wine with Mallory. And I bet you would share your life with her too. If you would just submit to your feelings. I switched my hand through the air and gave my best pompous butler impersonation.
A most decadent helping of popped corn with truffle oil and adult beverages.
Orale. Mallory stared at me and then tossed her head back in laughter.
Dinner is popcorn and nondescript alcohol? That sounds fantastic.
I know, right? While I had the popcorn going, I asked Mallory to go look for the truffle oil from the cellar.
I'm back. I think this is the right one.
She turned the bottle for me to read the label. Scribbled in my own sloppy, jiffy marker writing, there were the words, "the good stuff." Well, that's very specific. I nodded and motioned my chin to show her where to find the wine glasses and bowls.
So you made this truffle oil yourself?
Yeah, it's not too hard once you get the hang of it. The first batches I ever made were terrible, though.
Well, that's what those tests are for.
Lots of trial and error before I landed on the right mix of ingredients and timing.
She brought out a large bowl from the cupboard and placed it beside me for the popcorn.
Wow, that's so cool. I think it's incredible that you've learned to do all these things.
Honestly, yeah, I think so too.
That's just how it goes when you live on your own. If you'd like, I can teach you.
While reaching up to grab the wine glasses, she cocked her head curiously at me.
You would want to teach me?
Of course. You're good company, and it might be fun to show you how these things work.
She smiled at me and took the wine glasses over to the living room, dusting them off with her sweater as she walked. The popcorn was almost ready. Wow, it's so dark. Settling into the couch to watch a movie on my computer felt very different having a beautiful girl beside me. The same one who, only a few minutes earlier, was on the verge of tears. I was happy that I could cheer her up, if only for a little while. She seemed much happier with the distraction of popcorn in a movie.
Oh my goodness, this wine is the best tasting thing I've ever had in my life.
Her cheeks began to turn rosy. After just the first sip, it made me happy seeing her like this, and I was glad that I could share this small gift with someone.
What sort of movie would you like to watch?
Ernest Goes Somewhere Cheap. Okay, no.
How about something with action? And romance? Oh, and some comedy too.
That's a tall order. Let me see what I can find.
It wasn't long before we both relaxed and let ourselves be absorbed into the movie. Huh. This almost sounds a bit like... Well, it's not exactly Sailor Moon, but... It just... Like, if we think about... Well, for anyone who knows Sailor Moon, Princess Serenity of the Moon, and then Prince Endymion from Planet Earth, and how they fell in love with each other, and their love transcended lifetimes, and all that. Anyway, it was a strange story about a girl from the moon who fell in love with a human. They had to overcome their differences in order to realize they were destined to be together. There was also a moon cat... Oh my... Okay, this is freaking Sailor Moon, of course. There was also a mooncat that would bust out wisecracks every 10 minutes. It had Mallory roaring with laughter, as I expected.
This cat, I can't believe some of the things he says.
Her laughter was infectious, and soon had me joining in, despite the subpar humor of the movie.
I haven't laughed like this in so long. Oh my gosh, my stomach hurts from laughing.
Clumsily... Oops. Okay, well. Clumsily, I spilt a bit of wine on my pajama pants. The splotch had landed right on my... well, thing that rhymes with splotch. Oh dear. Oh my god. The sight of it only made us roar with more laughter. It may have been the wine causing us to act so funny, but it may have just been that we were long overdue for a good honest laugh. Maybe it's the wine talking, but okay, no. Being like this with her made me feel like my old self, or rather, like the person I might have been had my circumstances not forced me to become a young hermit. I wonder when we had started sitting so close to each other. I suppose it was so that we could share the bowl of popcorn without having to reach. But in fact, Mallory was so close to me that I could feel the heat radiating off her thigh beside my hand. I stretched out my fingers to graze her leg, testing the waters to see how she would react. Oh boy, this guy's already going to first base. Or maybe he's going beyond first base. Well then. To my surprise, she didn't recoil, so there my hand sat for the remainder of the movie, too nervous to move either way. At one point, I noticed her hand fall to her lap. It was resting in a way that seemed uncomfortable, with her palm facing upwards. It was honestly quite distracting. Before I could figure out if she had left it there for me to hold or not, the movie had ended. I missed my chance.
I really enjoyed that. Thanks so much for watching with me.
Parts of it were entertaining, definitely. Like that bizarre turtle in a top hat.
Okay, well that definitely wasn't... Well... At least I don't think it was in the original Sailor Moon. It's been a few years or so, so you can't dock me on that entirely.
That's right. And how we saved them from that lizard beast was so insane.
Yeah, there definitely wasn't some lizard beast in Sailor Moon. At least, not entirely. We sat together for another minute, recanting the ridiculousness of the story we had just experienced. All the windows were dark now, and Mallory looked exhausted. I felt pretty tired, too.
I guess I should get off your bed and let you get some sleep.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Well then.
Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. See you in the morning?
Definitely.
Although reluctantly, I left Mallory on the couch and climbed up the stairs to my bedroom. As I settled into bed, I felt a strange mix of happiness and loneliness. Two feelings I hadn't felt or allowed myself to feel in a long, long time. The pain of losing my family had been too much to bear, and so my heart had shut off, and I just existed, going through the motions, waiting endlessly for nothing in particular. Now, I was rediscovering myself, relearning what it meant to be human, and it was all because of Mallory. Then, as though she had known I was thinking about her, Mallory called up to me.
Sweet dreams.
You too. Get a good night's sleep.
I yawned and nestled deeper into my pillow. Before I could remember what I had been thinking about, I was fast asleep. exploded corn and squashed grapes. Let's see. Well, oh, that's right. I think there's only 8 chapters to this, so... Well, looks like we're getting close to the end here.
Good morning, sleepyhead.
Oh. The voice drew me up towards consciousness, but I didn't know if it was real or part of a dream. I heard a familiar creaking. Who could be walking up the stairs? I'm pretty sure it wasn't me. How could you be walking up the stairs if you're in bed? No, I was definitely laying in the bed. My eyelids were heavy and my brain was only half awake. A weight pressed down on the bed near my feet.
Wakey, wakey.
It sounded like Mallory. I teetered on the edge of consciousness, hoping I'd be left alone to fall back into slumber. The weight at the end of the bed shifted, shaking me a little. I squeezed my eyes shut.
Okay, you leave me no choice.
Uh-oh.
Incoming pounce attack!
Oh, hello. She's making like that sort of... almost like that Umu face. I was jolted awake then, fully this time, by the force of Mallory jumping on top of me. Ah! A panic shout escaped as I yanked the covers up past my neck, leaving only my face exposed. Mallory beamed, straddling me proudly, her clear aquamarine eyes filled with mischief.
Oops, did I scare you? Well, you left me no choice. I tried calling you, throwing things at you, and wafting delicious smells in your direction. None of those worked, so this was my last resort for getting you to wake up.
Really? When did all this happen?
And it did the trick. You're awake now.
Yeah, he's definitely awake now.
What kind of monster just pounces like that on a poor defenseless sleeping person?
I don't know, what kinds are there?
Monster, you say? Wow, you sure do know how to give a girl a compliment.
I know, right? Well, at least you didn't call her an ostrich or something. I scowled at her playfully. I was pretty sure she was resting her whole weight on me, but she felt like nothing. And though I'd been legitimately startled and more than a little confused, I found now that I didn't dislike the situation.
If you're jumping about like this, does that mean your leg is feeling better?
Mallory looked down at her bandaged leg, then back at me. She pursed her lips.
It doesn't hurt as much, but it feels kinda weak. Like it might give out if I put too much weight on it.
I didn't know enough to know if that was normal, or what it meant. I nodded vaguely and I just stared up at her. And she stared down at me, and then I shook myself.
So why did you need me to wake up so urgently?
She cocked her head.
I made you breakfast and I didn't want it to get cold. And I was worried. You're usually up way earlier than this. And maybe I was a little lonely and sort of missed you.
Well, so she admits it. What did she mean by usually way up earlier? I craned my neck to check the clock on my nightstand. Oh, that was what she meant.
Damn, what's up with me? I never sleep this long.
Sometimes your body just needs a little extra rest. Okay, now...
Mallory twisted, leaned over the bed, and produced as if from nowhere a plate of breakfast.
Ta-da!
Wow, she really did produce it out of nowhere. She held the plate out, showing me a stack of fluffy golden waffles. They smelled amazing, fruity and sweet, flecked with red and drizzled with maple syrup.
My mouth is watering. I never knew that was an actual thing that happened to mouths.
Well, apparently you do now.
Strawberry waffles from scratch will do that to you.
Man, she looks so happy here.
You'll have to tell tell me once you taste them, but I think I may have outdone myself this time. The only thing I did make from scratch is the syrup.
Yeah, imagine having to make the syrup from scratch. God, how would you... Well, okay, I mean, I know there is, like, some detailed stuff out there on how syrup is made, but, I mean, you get what I mean.
That's okay. I made the syrup from scratch.
Okay, apparently he knows how to make syrup. Alright, so I guess I wasn't joking when I said that he was like some kind of post-apocalyptic Tarzan.
Wait, you did?
I nodded.
There are tons of maple trees around here. I harvest their sap at the end of each winter. It's pretty simple. I drill small holes into the trees and insert what's called a spile, which is like a spout. The sap drains out through there and into a bucket.
Okay, yeah, that's more or less what I'm familiar with seeing.
When I have enough to fill a pot, I essentially boil it down until it's mostly evaporated. Then it's syrup. And the best part is, it keeps forever. So I can just store it in glass jars in my pantry.
Well, that is very handy, I gotta admit. Mallory had never looked happier or more amazed or more beautiful.
That sounds like some kind of fairy magic.
Magic.
The real magic is your cooking. This looks incredible. Although, do you mind taking it downstairs so we can eat there? I'd like to get dressed and, well,
Oh, well, I guess she realized what was happening. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of there in a very interesting position. Mallory looked down at herself and the way she was straddling me, and her face turned bright red rapidly. She scrambled to get off me, nearly dropping the plate of waffles in her flustered state.
I'll do that now. Sorry. See you downstairs.
Without making eye contact, she raced down the stairs. There came the sound of cutlery being fumbled with in the kitchen below. I dragged my hand down my face, equal parts amused, exasperated, and happy. Better by the breakfast. What does that mean? After breakfast, Mallory was quick to scoop up my plate and cutlery. I offered to help, but she said she would do them herself. By now I had learned there was no arguing with her. Not because she was particularly stubborn, but because I caved at the slightest pushback. She made me weak, but, like, in a nice way. So while she cleaned up, I walked over to the window and overlooked the garden. The skies were dark and dreary, far more ominous this morning than before. The ground glistened and I could see little puddles on the path leading up to the door. They rippled as a gust of wind rushed past.
I guess it's another day indoors. Look how glum that weather is.
I glanced back at Mallory in the kitchen. She took a look through the window, making a little pouty face. So grumpy.
Also, clouds like this mean we're not getting any solar, so we're relying on what's stored in the battery bank for now. We should limit how much electricity we use today.
Okay, yeah, you see what I mean. Yeah, so... I guess, yeah, that's the only way you can really do this, is just to kind of... How would you say? Just... determine how much power you're going to use for the time being.
Okay, I'll be extra careful.
I turned back to the window and pressed my hand against it. The glass was cold, much colder than usual. If it was going to rain all day and be chilly, I should bring in some extra wood for the fire. 30 pieces should do. Then I stole another glance back at Mallory. Mallory in her threadbare sweater dress, so thin and short. Better make it 50 pieces, I told my brain. My brain agreed. Outside, the rain was really coming down. I kept close to the edge of the cabin, sneaking along under what cover there was on my way to the woodshed. The ground was too muddy to use the wheelbarrow, so I figured I'd have to make more than one trip. I gathered up a big armload of firewood and brought it back to the cabin. I repeated this process, getting wetter and colder as I went. On my last trip to the woodshed, it occurred to me that I would have never bothered with this much effort if it were only myself in the cabin. I would have made do with the few logs already inside, wrapped myself in blankets, and if it came to it, suffered the cold. Yeah, but now you have Mallory in your life. But Mallory deserved better than that. You want to treat her nice, with kindness, love, and tenderness. After bringing all the wood inside, I laid out a towel beside the fireplace. I inspected the log for bugs. I wouldn't want anything creepy hitching a ride inside my home. Once that task was done, I arranged a couple of logs with some kind of kindling and got a little fire going in the fireplace. I sat there for a few minutes, stoking the flames while the wood hissed and popped. Soon the whole living room was toasty. Mallory appeared at my side and sat down. She leaned towards the fire, its fiery glow warming her face. You know, I just realized, are those board games right there? Huh, interesting if they are. Will that come into play later? And also, there's a fish. Is this a different fish from the ones in his... God, I already forgot what the word was. The hydro room. I caught myself staring at her and slapped my hands against my thighs. What?
Well, I better make use of this time and get some work done on my computer.
Doesn't that use up the electricity?
I mean, I think it would.
The computer only draws around 250 watts. A couple of hours won't make much of a difference.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't really know any of this stuff, but, well, I guess he has it down to a T. Mallory stayed by the fire while I went to my desk and booted up my computer. The sound of the drizzling rain outside and crackling fire in the fireplace soothed me as I settled into my chair. I could live like this forever, I thought. Oh no! One rule of visual novels, or well, just like anime and certain media in general, anytime the main protag says something like, I could live like this forever, or I wish things could be like this forever, things usually don't end up being like this forever, and bad things happen. So you've just signed your own death warrant, or something like that. The peaceful atmosphere was interrupted by an annoying cascade of chimes from my email. I took a peek at my inbox and saw more spam. Of course. Okay, let's see here. Well, I guess let's just read it again. Yeah, I guess this way I can just sort of... Well, let's see, maybe I'll just... Yeah, I'll just do it like that. Okay, I guess we'll read the spam again just because I like this. I opened up the first of the sketchy forwards.
Wow, more new cures for the virus discovered!
That's amazing!
This says, miraculous cure found! Dihydrogen monoxide combined with pink sodium chloride will save your life. Click here now to learn... Yeah, no, that link is definitely staying blue.
And yeah, dihydrogen monoxide is H2O, aka water. So, and I guess pink salt. Do they even make pink salt? Do I even want to know? Or well, who knows? Maybe there is pink salt out there. I've never seen it though, but yeah, that's definitely a load of hooey right there. You're basically making salt water. If we're ignoring the fact that the salt is pink.
And this other one has more emojis than actual words.
Yeah, that's definitely a good sign. Mallory laughed.
You never know. One of those headlines might turn out to be true someday.
Yeah, but the dihydrogen monoxide thing, like, I learned that in chemistry, like, one of our teachers back then, like, she even kind of talked about how there might be people who use dihydrogen monoxide to make it sound like it's something scary, when it's just, no, it's just regular old water, so there's nothing scary about it. But if you didn't know any better, you would be like, oh my god, dihydrogen monoxide, oh my god, what's that? It sounds dangerous. And it's like, nope, you drink it every day. Or at least you should be drinking it every day.
Oh, Mallory, you're such an optimist.
I rolled my eyes playfully. Without thinking about it more than that, I deleted both of the emails. Then I spent a few more minutes checking some websites that were part of my daily routine. Sites for tech news, world news, and weather. A random ad for amazing delivery services reminded me about the first aid kit I needed to replace. I decided I might as well grab some painkillers too, since there had only been a handful left in the bottle when Mallory had asked for one for her leg. She seemed much better now, but still, it was good to have things like that on hand. You never know when a headache might strike, or a joint might get strained, or sprained. Exactly, you always gotta be prepared. I ordered a new first aid kit and the aspirin, and then something else caught my eye. It was a type of ad I'd never usually get, and certainly never pay mind to, but for some reason I did this time. Oh, okay. It was just a basic advertisement peddling some chintzy jewelry, but something compelled me to take a closer look. After clicking through, I was presented with with an image of a stunning silver ring in the shape of a bow. The color and sparkle definitely reminded me of Mallory. I wanted to buy it. Are you going to use it to propose to her? Tell her that Mallory, I want you to be my girl for the rest of our lives. For her. The next thing I knew, the order had been placed and a message appeared letting me know that all 3 of my purchases would be arriving via drone drop within the next few days. Man, well, Amazon, at least where I live, that hasn't really... We haven't gotten that far yet. But damn, imagine. The whole order, plus delivery fees, was ridiculously expensive, but what else was I going to spend my money on? Who knows, maybe that's why. Maybe having it delivered by a drone, maybe that costs a hell of a lot more. At least I would imagine. Especially as opposed to just having a delivery truck take it to you. But I guess considering we're kind of in a sort of post-apocalyptic world here after the big V, who knows, maybe there aren't really like postal trucks anymore, as sad as it might sound. I leaned back in my chair, a little bit in disbelief of myself. Oh, there she is, looking so peaceful and so happy. And okay, those seriously look like board games. I looked over at Mallory sitting in the living room. She had that old basket of clothing set beside her. with a little pile of things neatly refolded beside it. Is she hemming up? That's either a shirt or a pair of pants. Her head was bent low, over some garment in her lap, her fingers working away. I suddenly realized that she was using a needle and thread, sewing up holes and fastened buttons back where they belonged. Okay, so she's fixing it. I forgot about the work I'd wanted to get done. I got up out of my seat and wandered over to look more closely at what she was doing.
Are you mending my clothes?
She brightened.
Yes, those ones are already done, and these ones here are still in progress.
Wow, alright.
I didn't even know you'd been working on this.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, normally I work on it before I go to sleep or when I first wake up. I find it sort of meditative.
That's interesting.
You know, you don't have to do all these things for me.
Is she doing them for you?
I like keeping busy, and I like being helpful.
Seriously, this woman is like... She is too good to be true, and I feel like if you have her in your life, you need to marry her. No questions asked. Like, seriously. She is like almost the perfect wife right here.
Really, you've been so generous and kind taking me in like this. I just want to do everything I can to help you.
She kept working while she talked, so sweet and matter-of-fact. I smiled, and suddenly I really didn't want to bother with work. I wonder why that is. I just wanted to hang out with her. Yep, he's definitely in love, I think. Well, I mean, I know I've been saying it this whole video, but I mean, come on. I'm just here like, come on, just admit it to yourself. You love her. I'm just here like, God, just... I want to hear him say it. So bad.
You know, I don't think I'm in the right headspace for work today. Luckily, I don't have any looming deadlines, so maybe I'll take today off?
Yeah, and maybe you'll save some power on the computer while you're at it or something. I don't know.
We could just sit and enjoy the fire together. Maybe we could play a board game.
Okay, so the board games are gonna come into play here. Mallory looked up at me in surprise.
Ooh, I love games. What did you have in mind?
Connect 4! Okay, no. Well, that was one of my favorite ones growing up. I searched my memory. What two-player games did I have kicking around? Most of the board games left in the cabin were more than a decade old. They were the ones I used to play with my family when we vacationed here, and many of them were probably missing cards or pieces.
How about chess? Do you know how to play?
Oh, that's interesting. Surely the chess set on the game shelf would still be intact, and those old pieces would be thrilled to get some use after all these years.
Chess? Yes. I used to play with my sister sometimes. I'm probably not very good at it.
And watch her, like, completely ace the game and, like, totally beat us.
That's okay. Neither am I. I'll grab the game. Meet me at the table, okay?
And I wish I could, like, get a better look at what some of these are. And that almost looks like it says connect something. Obviously not connect 4, otherwise we're gonna, or somebody's gonna get sued, but... You know, like some kind of parody. God, yeah, I'm almost tempted to just, like, try to screenshot this and be like, okay, can I try to see what these say? You know, see what these say or something? I went to retrieve the chess set, just where I remembered. I unearthed the box and was dusting it off with my sleeve when I heard Mallory make a little noise.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I turned to check on her. She was still sitting on the floor beside the fireplace, mended clothes strewn about.
What's wrong?
She raised her hand to her lips and began biting her nail. Oh, did she poke herself?
I can't get up. My leg's fallen asleep.
Oh, okay. I was almost here like... Yeah, like, please don't... Well... I mean, still, though, poking yourself in one of those needles still isn't fun. I mean, I'm not very good at sewing, but I mean, I have had to sew things myself, so... And I'm rather clumsy at it. Oh, wow. Her words brought back a familiar phrase she said the night we met. I chuckled and reached out my hand to her.
Well, at least it's only asleep and not caught in a trap this time.
She smiled and accepted my hand to lift her up. Funny how she didn't think twice about it anymore.
White or black?
We set the board out on the table and started setting up the pieces.
Wait, please.
I sat down on the black side of the board and finished arranging my pieces. When I looked up, Mallory was examining the box with pursed lips.
Are you missing a piece?
Looks that way. I don't mind subbing in a salt shaker or something else to play with.
Oh, wow.
No way. We should play with real pieces.
Well then, do you know where the missing piece is? She gave me a look. It was sort of dismissive, sort of disheartened, but I meant what I'd said, and I knew how to cheer her up.
Seriously, I can make you a proper chess piece. And I can make it look however you like.
Oh, wow. Are you gonna make, like, your own custom chess... Imagine making your own custom chess set. I mean, there is stuff like that out there. Like, I bought a Super Mario themed one once. And I do have a Star Wars one. So... And I mean, there are several Star Wars ones from over the years, so... I mean, yeah, you can pretty much make your own chess set however you want. Mallory stared at me, one eyebrow a little higher than the other. It kind of does look that way, doesn't it?
How?
With magic! Okay, no. I held out one finger and headed towards my computer desk. Alright, does he have a 3D printer or something?
Remember the gauze with the cute potato pattern on it? I printed that out with my 3D printer. See?
Oh boy, so he can... Wow, so he can make out... Well... Yes, come on, make out with Mallory already. Okay, no. So he can really make his own chess set then. It might be a hell of expensive depending on the resin and whatever you might be using, but hey, you know. I took the equipment out and hooked it up to my computer, giving her a quick overview as I did. But I mean, it would take a while to fully print out the piece, though, I'm just saying.
This is just a small one, but it's very useful and quite simple. I just plug in the USB cable to my computer, then use a program to tell the printer what to make.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, and well, I can't afford a 3D printer, I wish I could. But I've commissioned people to make 3D pieces for me for, like, Transformers and Bionicle. Otherwise, I've used things like Shapeways and other services out there. Basically just to 3D print some of the files that I have. I don't design them, like, God, I wish I could, imagine. But I usually, like, download them, or in some cases, if I've commissioned someone to, you know, render the piece for me, then I can sort of send it to one of these places and have it made for me, so... I've just always found 3D printing so fascinating and just amazing with the possibilities you can do with it. Like in the Bionicle committee alone, we've been able to have so many different custom masks and weapons made. And, well, even more than that. Like, I think we're still a bit ways off from having the ability to make a perfect, fully 3D printed action figure. I know that there are some out there, but I mean, I imagine that we could eventually get to that point if enough time and progress is made to perfect the technology.
I'm missing the queen. Can it make that piece?
I let out a theatrical laugh, throwing my head back as I did so.
This baby can make anything your heart desires. Ask and you shall receive.
Okay, well then. She cradled her chin while she thought.
I desire a cat.
How big?
A cat queen? Alright, that works.
Kira Queen. Okay, no.
Can I watch?
Well, why not? The enthusiasm she showed left no room for arguments. I loaded up my software to search for cat and picked out a cat figurine. I set it to print and let Mallory press the very last OK button to get the process started. Several indicator lights on the 3D printer flashed as it got to work. It started to hum and whir.
It's like something out of science fiction.
I know. I've seen a few 3D printers. And I mean, some of them are pretty pricey. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing with what you can do with them. I could just continuously keep talking about how much I love the idea behind 3D printing and just what you can do with it. Yeah. Mallory tilted her head to get a better look at the printer. She stood up to lean over and watch the cat being formed from above. The angle exposed her cleavage and bra. Okay, well... I try not to look, unsure if she was aware of what her positioning was putting on display. I don't think she is aware. I think she's painfully unaware of the fact that she's a beautiful woman well, you know, and she's kind of putting it on display, and she's just so innocent too, so I don't think she realizes. I'd rather assume it was a mistake and not taking advantage of it, no matter how attractive the sight was. We were both quiet while we waited. Level after level, the Cat Queen built upon itself, and about 4 minutes later, we had our replacement chess piece. Okay, well then. That was pretty fast. And see, I didn't know that they could work that well. I mean, like, yeah, I didn't realize that there were 3D printers that could work that fast. Like, wow. That is amazing. I removed the piece from the printer, handed it to Mallory, and watched her expression turn from amazement to joy.
It's perfect.
And it wasn't the only thing. You mean her? She's pretty perfect herself. We sat down to play, and the conversation came so easily. We shared what we knew about chess, how we each learned to play, and how the game itself dated back to the 15th century, and how these days most people played it online. Yeah, like on the Monica After Story game. I obviously don't play it much, because Monica kicks my ass at it, and I'm terrible, but... yeah, I mean, you see, there are multiple ways to play it. Although there is kind of like the misconception of... I mean, I know how you have the king and queen and all that, but at least with how it worked, I mean, I guess the classic way of chess, like if we're really going like beyond that, it wasn't so much king and queen, but it was rather like the queen was meant to represent like your best soldier in a way, in like this sort of planning sort of thing. You know, kind of like a tactical sort of setup in which you would try to figure out the best way to move and all that based on certain units and whatever. At least that's what I've been told. So like, yeah, in that sense, it's not so much like, oh yeah, the king and queen and whatever, but rather, well, at least in the case of king and queen, the king is like your commander, kind of staying back, giving orders, and the queen is like your best unit, so to say. And so that's kind of why the king can only move one space at a time, since the object of the game is to capture the king, and in a sense like your commanding general, sort of, who's staying back to give orders. But anyway, well, see, like, I just find it very easy for me to kind of nerd out with this kind of stuff. We talked about Deep Blue, the first computer to beat a world chess champion, and then the conversation turned into other random things. Things that made us laugh, little anecdotes from childhood, questions we had about the universe. It turned into one of those days where time just passes you by, impossible to notice. Until Mallory sat up straight while I was contemplating my options, pointing urgently.
Hey, look! There! The clouds are breaking.
Nuh-uh, I'm not falling for that. You just want me to turn my back so you can move the pieces around. You trickster, you.
Or like Gary's Game, that Pixar short film. You're gonna switch the board around and then be like, huh, I win! I hissed at her, shaking my head, and she laughed.
No, seriously. Look, the sun is shining over there.
Yoink!
Can we go outside to look at it?
I twisted in my seat. Through the window I could see the great gray sky, and there over the mountain a glowing crack shedding golden sunbeams down onto the land.
Wow. Okay, yeah. Good idea. And I know a perfect viewing spot.
Mallory gleefully hopped off her chair and took my hand in hers. Wow, look at that. It's the city again. But, no. Outside, the air was damp. We walked together around the side of the house to the ladder I'd used the other day. I climbed up first, then helped Mallory up the last ladder rung and over the edge of the roof. Her hands felt so little and fragile in mine.
Watch your step. It's still wet and might be slippery. Luckily, the ridges help give traction.
We stood side by side, and out of an abundance of caution, and only an abundance of caution, I held her. Keep telling yourself that, pal. The sun was on its way down, and I could tell the sunset was going to be incredible.
What do you think? Pretty good spot to watch the sunset?
Mallory took a few steps forward, leaving my hands empty. I shoved them into my pockets. For a moment, everything was quiet. I scanned the world around me and saw gray clouds streaking downward in the distance, trees in heavy shadow, with their tips lit up by the sinking sun, the ruins of the city nestled in the thriving landscape, and her. She let out a long, careful sigh, turning slightly to look back in my direction.
It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
A cold wind blew past, catching her shining platinum hair and sending a few strands dancing around her head. There was something mournful in her tone, and it made my heart ache. And this very image itself seems very mournful in a way as well. Just the sort of solemn look she has on her face.
Thank you, from the bottom of my heart, for showing me all of this.
I stared at her, wondering why she sounded so sad, yet also understanding that her sadness was the same as mine. God, she was beautiful. I stared and stared, and I didn't know how I'd lived so long without her. Well, I guess that's one thing about love. When, in a sense, your life is nothing but a whisper until that person comes in. And it just feels so amazing. And you don't ever want to go back to that old way of life after knowing how good you have it now. Something changed up there on the roof. I came back to myself when a strong, cold gust rushed past me, and I realized the sun had dipped beneath the horizon. I'd spent the whole time watching Mallory instead of watching the sunset.
It's already over? It happened so quick.
Yeah, it did.
Mallory had her arms wrapped around herself. I saw goosebumps on her legs, and a little shivering in her shoulders.
I don't know about you, but I'm freezing. Shall we go back in?
I never paid attention before. I never cared.
She was so sad. I wanted to make it stop for her, but I didn't know how.
Maybe the most beautiful things are beautiful because they're fleeting. You have to appreciate them while they're there.
Why do I have a feeling that this is going to be some kind of, well, not epic foreshadowing, but just very, very painful foreshadowing later on?
But hey, there'll be another sunset tomorrow.
It was getting dark now. I felt a few raindrops, and the air felt heavy and sharp.
It's starting to rain again. Come on, let's go in.
Mallory turned slowly, nodding, not looking me in the eye. I stood by the ladder.
After you.
Her head was bowed and she moved so tentatively, but I couldn't tell whether it was because she was sad or because she was nervous. Okay, well, I really don't know. Well, I guess I am going to give her space. At least, I don't know if this is the bad option here, but we'll see. She just looked so withdrawn. I didn't want to invade her space, and I figured that if she wanted help, she'd ask for it. She didn't. She just shuffled towards the ladder, hesitating for a moment at the top, then turned around. Her foot slipped. She lurched, arms wheeling, and with a jolt of fear I grabbed her. She regained her balance by clinging to my arm.
Whoa, Mallory! Be careful!
She let out a shaky breath.
I know I joked about it before, but falling off rooftops is not actually something we want happening. Are you okay?
I just got a fright, that's all. I'm okay.
Still, she continued holding on to me as she lowered herself down onto the ladder. I waited until she reached the ground before I climbed down after her.
Thanks for being my hero. hero again.
Sure. Always happy to help.
She smiled at me, and we carefully made our way back inside the house. Okay, well, I think I might actually... I know it's a bit of a weird place to stop here, but I just kind of wanted to keep going, and it just seemed like a really sort of... I really liked that scene. Anyway, well, so we've learned a little bit more about Mallory, and I really am kind of wondering, like, when is this guy just gonna finally accept I'm in love with her, I need to tell her, and, you know, basically what we came here for. We want, well, at least I want to see all the schlocky romance and whatever you call it, so come on. But anyway, well, I guess that will do it for now. And yep, I guess we will see what happens. And if I remember right, yeah, if there are 8 chapters to this game, then it would appear as though I am almost done here. But obviously, I'm not going to just end it once I get an ending or whatever. I'm still going to try to go back and get all the endings that I possibly can. But until then, we'll see. So, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with whatever else I do. Stay golden, and later, folks.